Right, karibu sana. This is the 20th day of August, the good day of the Lord. It is Relationship Wednesday. I'm yours truly, Stanley Nyringita. And on this particular day, kama kawaida, from around 8 to 9, we look at your domestic issues and your relationship issues, be it family relationships or you with your mphoa. And for this particular day, we are taking a look at how do you raise your children in a broken relationship. We'll be defining what a broken relationship is, and the kind of factors that play around. But kama kawaida, on Relationship Wednesday, I always definitely teach you a proverb and have your mind boggling on what this proverb always means. And we start off with an African proverb that I'll have my guests try to analyze. It is an African proverb. Jen Kitau, she's a counseling psychologist, as well as Richard Ziwa, Zimbalist. Karibuni sana. Even as you also do your further introduction, our African proverb says, the flame that cooks today can burn the roof tomorrow. Ladies first, Madam Kitau, what do you think of this proverb in relation to our conversation today?
Well, that's a perfect proverb in the sense that it's saying that what can help you today, for example, tomorrow it can be a danger to you. And for example, that flame you're talking about, this is somebody you were in a relationship with, it was working so well, you gave your all to this person, but tomorrow you don't want to see that very person, meaning that they can be able to expose you, they can actually mess you up. So yesterday you used that pot to cook, tomorrow it can consume you. So, yeah.
Zimbalist.
Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to place a value to all those who are watching and listening in on us, that they're very significant. And that parable is something that I really, really like. I think it reminds me of physics. To every action, there is always an equal and opposite reaction. Yes. So be very careful and mindful of how you deal with the relationships round about you and the people that come in your sphere of influence, because it will come back to bite you.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
In case you missed the proverb, the flame that cooks today can burn the roof tomorrow. Think about that this morning. And even as you're doing that, your feedback is most definitely welcome. 22047 is our SMS number. On WhatsApp, which is very easy to you to text us and tell us. We'll be sampling your feedback later on. 0793 267 279. Write that number down and you will be telling us what your feedback is. Particularly, do you have an experience? Are you a child or, formerly you were raised in a broken, kind of a relationship, and the kind of experience you garnered from there? Or you're a parent and you're feeling like my partner having this kind of a disparity and it is really having an impact on our children. How are you dealing with that? So tell us, how do you navigate this whole disparity in your broken relationship and how it is affecting your children? Better yet, you can also call us live, 0795 045 864, 0795 045 864. Tupigie simu sahi, weka credit, utuambie unapiga kutoka wapi, what is your name, and mchango wako ni upi. Let's just dive into it. I'll start with you, Gitau. We always say a broken relationship. But then just to really define it and taking a look at our typical society kind of, relationship. I think we always have some of a similar, when you look at African and Kenyan families, always have a certain strand of similarity. But how will you define a broken relationship?
Yeah, a broken relationship is basically when people who are working it so easily are no longer able to do so. And for example, when you talk about now raising children in such a situation, is where we have people who are basically divorced, separated, or probably in conflict, because people can be in a family but full of conflict and the children are there. So basically that is a malfunctioning kind of relationship. Yeah, so between two parties, and more so in this case is a man and a wife.
All right.
Yeah.
Richard, unlike this cup that in front of you, which when it breaks here, fixing it might be quite the hassle. But then for relationships, when they break, they are able to be fixed. in this whole sense of a broken relationship, that means that you anticipate this relationship is going to break, and if it's fixed, there's aftermath, depending on the frequency and even how long it has broken. A month, 2 months, a year, there's the process of the pre and the post. When children are involved, how does this, even for the partners, how do you deal with that?
Thank you, Stanley. I think one of the things that need to first submit is I happen to be one of those children who are raised in that kind of relationship.
Yes, I remember you telling me that.
So I handle this subject with a little bit of tenderness, because there are people who are listening in who are trapped in that kind of experience.
Yes.
And it's an emotive experience for both the parent who have gone apart, or the child who's trying to reconcile whose loyalty do I esteem above the other. And there are others who are like, have nothing to do with my parents. They are young adults who are transitioning through life, and they do not know is it betrayal if I pursue my dad who deserted my mother? Is it okay with my grandparents as they've raised me, and most likely my mom was not present? It's a very delicate place to be at. But one of the things that I would say, if a relationship is broken, is as a result of some irreconcilable differences to many people who are caught up in that kind of experience. So it's good to note that the parents can go apart and be separated, but that does not divorce you from your child. The child always becomes the primary emphasis of reconciliation in those relationships. Severe as it might be, the father could be separated from the mother, but the child is never separated from both the two parents. So the two adults, they might be in a place where they don't see eye to each other, but they should be able to see eye to eye in regard to the child that was born out of their union, because it's not the choice of the child, it was the choice of the two parents. So the child shouldn't be found constantly struggling and haggling the need to create an equilibrium for both parents. Okay. It's the parents who should work their way to see that this child, in his loyalty towards the two parents, should not be trapped up where you use punitive behavior. Because you don't brought the child to me, I'll not pay school fees, I'll not pay the rent, I'll not buy the clothes that he needs to use. You know, there should be that place a huge premium on the child. You might have differences, but you place a huge premium on the child. I want to appreciate my mother who gave birth to me. She knew she was in a relationship with my dad, but got to a place where it is not going to work out. So we were born two of us, and one passed away. She gathered the courage and she said, I need to get this child to the father and be raised with the rest of the other siblings. So I had the grand privilege to be raised by two mothers. My late mother, in my culture, we don't mention the name of the mother, so I never even got to know her name. We used to give a nickname called Commander. And believe me, she raised us up well. She was commanding the troops very well. And I am a man that I am because of the labor of that wonderful stepmom who raised me up as her own child.
Right.
Yeah.
Gitau, in that whole sense, the children, do you think they see the telltale signs before this relationship breaks? And from where you sit as a psychologist, how do children now take it when they see dad and mom are about to, break up, and the kind of effect that it has on them as children? Do you think they're able to actually see these signs?
Well, first of all, let me thank and congratulate people who are raising children singly or in a separated way, but in a successful way. It is true that children, first of all, they are very sensitive. Children are very, very sensitive. Sometimes you may think children are fools. But one thing I can say is that children just think their age. Mm-hmm. But that their age is very sensitive. They are very wise in their own way. Because when they are very sensitive to changes. They even know when finances are not flowing as they used to, you know. They are very sensitive. I remember this one time we had a challenge, a political challenge at home, and my dad was put in, and my mom, and, you know, the meat never used to flow like it used to. And I remember one of my brother just said, nataka fadhi akuje, tukule nyama vile tulikuwa tunakula. They are able to tell when things are not right. And now what happens is that most of the time you see that kids were able to freely go out there to play. Anytime they would go play with the dad, play with the mom. But when things start going haywire, there's always something. They stop going out a lot because they're like, suppose I go and then something happened when I'm away. Because you see now, unfortunately, some parents are not able to hold their emotions. So what happens is that they start abusing each other in front of the children. They'll start doing things that, of course, causes alarm to the children. And so they start becoming hypersensitive, you know. They are like, suppose we go and then mom kills dad or dad kills mom, you know, because you start hearing things. And even if there was no shouting, they'll still be able to know. It may take a bit long or longer for them to be able to really tell. However, you can see they are able to tell, and they start becoming reactive. And interestingly, they'll even start reporting some of these messages mostly to their teachers. If those that are close to their teachers, they'll start telling their teachers, oh, my mom and dad, they are doing 1, 2, because nowadays children are more expressive. And those that are not expressive, they'll start withdrawing. And
that whole bit of the fact that they're expressive, and really even Gen Alpha right now, they're quite expressive, and that means that it's as if they're seeking answers, because even as they tell the teachers, they're probably telling them in a point of they're guessing, and even maybe
they need help. They're actually screaming.
Telling other relatives, I think this is what is happening, but they don't really have the full facts.
Yes.
Do they have a right to be told by the parents themselves that wakalishwe chini waambiwe, sisi, this is what is happening, so this is what will happen in this? Do they need to be told, ama you see right here?
Well, of course it is their right, because you see, you cannot say it is not their right, and yet you're operating as a team. This is a team. And when things are not working, they are squarely affected, you know. When you come and you're screaming at the mother, or the mother is screaming at you, even if they are asleep, of course what happens? They'll wake up, you know. You interfere with their emotions. And so they should be aware of what is happening. But of course, when they come to wise people, you should not escalate things if really they can be sorted out. And that is why people should tame their emotions. And even you and I, if you, a husband and wife, can be able to see when the challenges are coming up. And you should be able to look for help. You know, so unless things have aggravated, that is when children should be brought on board. Because now, most of the time, you don't tell them what is happening. They only get to see when things are going haywire. When we are throwing sufurias to each other, that is when they realize, hey, things are tough, you know. And so because of misinformation, because you see now, the problem is that when you start informing, again, you must ask yourself, so shall we sit them down, me and you, whose relationship is not working, sit our children down? Or is it me sit my children down, you come and sit them down? Meaning that they'll be getting different information. So by the time they merge what the father told them and what the mother told them, it becomes very, very difficult. And now they start wondering, so is it mom, is it dad who is bad? You know? So I think it is very, very important for us to let our children know exactly what is happening, but not at the early stages. Because now when you reconcile, then what happens? Now do you go and start telling them, now we reconciled? You know, now you start playing some baby games, you know? So I think it is only fair for you to be able to know what to relate to the children. You know, relate them about the progress, tell them, yeah, this was not working, but right now we are sorting out things, and this is where we are. It is very, very important. Yeah, so instead of looking for help from the teachers, they're looking for help from the neighbors, you know, because kids are expressive.
Yes, yes.
And especially nowadays, they'll tell on anything and everything. Yeah.
And Richard, so whatever these children will be telling is what they're seeing, because they're going to be seeing a difference in pattern, how Magita was saying. how things were running in the house, they're no longer running that way. That means that maybe these parents are expressing things differently openly. Does this mean that in case there's a certain disparity in that household, it should be done in closed doors? Kule kwa bedroom, kama ni ku argue down there, but then in front of the children, things run smoothly. Should that be the way things should run?
Thank you, Stanley. I would want to validate what she's saying. The things that happen in every household, and that sets the precedence for all of us, wherever we are, that what we've seen acted at home, we have an opportunity to reenact it, because children learn by example and imitation. So if you can see it, I can demonstrate it elsewhere. And in every household, there's a way you can tell there's chaos in that home, because children emit emotions. Mm-hmm. Even when there's a cold war and there's nothing said, there's a way they can sense that vibe, mm-hmm. and they can absorb it. And often children carry the guilt and the condemnation as things are not happening right, maybe because of me. But when there's a sense of authenticity in every relationship, with the way with which you love on each other, even when you miss the mark, there ought to be a way with which you communicate that to the children, and say, I'm just not happy with the way Mama and I were doing this. Mm-hmm. Or right now, Mama has locked me out, or Dad has locked me out, and it's not your problem. It's mm-hmm. between us, we'll sort it out. But if it's happening, in the past used to happen, it will take you longer to note that actually your parents divorced. They divorced in the bedroom, but they act everything is right out here.
So is it safer? Because I'm looking at another whole scenario where...
It's never safe. It's never safe, because what is done privately, in one way or the other, it will foster itself out publicly. People get to see it and children get to experience it. It's better to be truthful and honest when things are not working out and seek for help. It's like having a wound and keep on bandaging it and hiding it, and you think it will heal properly because you've hid. No.
But how then do you sit down and even tell your children and give them the whole fact so that they don't hear it from the neighbors or other quarters, third parties? How do you sit with them without the blame games? Because another whole scenario might occur where one parent, and then mostly now this happens where the co-parenting kind of a situation, where one parent uses you as the other partner as an scapegoat, and saying, well, you did not go to school because your father did not pay school fees, so we're arguing because of your father. We're arguing because of him. How do you break that?
Placing blame in the wrong place. Yes. These are internal wounds. And whatever you do not expose to the doctor, mm-hmm. quite likely it will not get the right kind of diagnosis for treatment. So if you don't expose what is really ailing your relationship to the people that are significant in that relationship, you're procrastinating the need to heal and recover you from you, and thus it gets to affect or infect everything other places because you've taken too long to expose it out. Mm-hmm. The same is true with relationship with children. Parents who are having a significant difference of opinion.
Right. Hold it there. We're taking a short break. When we come back, we also tackle the same bit. I'll continue with you. Remember, you are watching Relationship Wednesday. In case you've just joined us right now, we'd like to hear from you. What is your experience when you, as a parent, you're trying to raise children, but then there's disparity between you and your partner, or vice versa? You were raised in a household where your parents were every single time in disparities. How were you raised? Talk to us. I would love to have particularly your phone calls after this short break. Don't go too far.
is changing every day, and so should we, for the better. Each week, we tackle the big why, the question that should be on everyone's mind. Why isn't this fixed yet? Deforestation, global warming, and the adverse effects of climate change. The future isn't just something that we inherit, it's something that we create. Join us on The Green Fix as we tell the stories of those who refuse to give up. When it comes to fixing the planet, there is no time to waste. Join me, Shiksha Arora, on Thursdays at 9 p.m. on The Green Fix as we look into the big why, you and I.
For comprehensive information and education on your health, Body Garage is here.
Don't allow anyone to pluck out your good tooth as long as it is strong and stable.
Cancer doesn't start today and you get the symptoms tomorrow. By the time you pick it or the time it is manifesting in you,
Welcome back. This is Relationship Wednesday. I'm yours truly, Jen. Stanley Jeringita Jen Kitao. She is a psychologist. Richard Zio Zimbalist is counselor. This particular topic, even after we started off before the break, just taking a look at how, as parents, how do you raise your children in the broken kind of a relationship, and how does it even reach to that level of it is actually a broken relationship? The first starts to be a crack, and then now this relationship. For the break, Richard, just really trying to help even parents out there understand the kind of openness that you need to have with your children. Because first, will you be every single time be telling your children in the whole spirit of being open to your children that every single time that, hey, kids, we are having problems with your mom, but then we'll solve it. So don't worry. Will that be happening every single time, or do you have to first wait until things boil to a certain level that you now tell them?
Thank you. There's a place which I always see, the children of today are not the children of those days when we were growing up, where everything was hid from their side. There's a certain measure of emotional intelligence the children of this generation have that we didn't have then, and I should give it up to them. So I'd rather that the parents take cognizance of the fact that you don't relate from obscurity of the children. They are able to tell when things are not working out right and when things are working out right. So taking note that your children are growing as you're growing in your relationship, they have seen when you have drifted off. But there's an age-appropriate quadrant that you can tell that my 3-year-old will appreciate this information, and the 15-year-old will appreciate this kind of information, and the 12-year-old will appreciate this kind of relationship. But also, children have a way they take sides in relationship to reconcile parents. Children never want to see parents fighting each other, not once. So they would rather absorb the guilt and the condemnation that they're the cause of whatever that is happening than to have the two parents fight, because it affects them adversely in how they view themselves and how they will consider their priorities concerning relationship. So children, give them opportunity to be children. Seek and outsource help so that the children don't absorb the pain of your conflict, of miscommunication, lack of communication, or the fights that you're having within each other as a husband and wife, or as people who are connected in any relationship, whatever shape or form that you have. It could be that you fathered a child out of wedlock and you want to go separate ways. It's like, stuck is a mambo, I'm going away. And in your commitment to go away, what are these children going to do with the fact that you're walking away from us? That is a big question. How do you want them to interpret that decision? So find a way you can reconcile by finding and outsourcing help, seek a counselor, go for therapy, and you'll be helped. You'll be helped.
But then on the flip side, children, truth be told, can take advantage of this disparity and say, Daddy amekuwa akikataa kuninunulia bike. Now that they're fighting with mom, this is the best chance to get this bike. And to, because I mean, the dad in this case, ataona just to appease the feelings of this child, atasema fine, unataka bike, chukua. How should parents, handle that, where children start taking advantage of this, disparity?
Yeah, of course, children will always be children. And also don't forget they're also human.
Yes.
And human, we tend to lie more where we are favored or where our needs are attended. And so these children, of course, they watch us as parents and they know our weaknesses and our strength. But then for strong parenting, and especially for people who have parted for one reason or the other, there should be some agreement where you should not be acting nice as you try to make the other person act bad. You should agree what you shall give our children, So I should not just give them something because I have, or to outsmart mom, or to outsmart dad. That shouldn't happen, because you should be able to introduce balance to your child. Because as much as you gave the child the bike, what was the mother giving in return?
So dad and mom should first sit down, as much as they don't want to see each other eye to eye, they should first sit down and say, fine, anataka, let's now agree as both parents, and then
rules should be, these people, whether they are agreeing or disagreeing, they should have rules for the successful co-parenting. Because you see, if you start outsmarting the other person, what are you trying to do? You see, anything can happen to you and you may be gone tomorrow. So what happens to that parent that you have left behind? So for the sake of the balance of this child, it is only fair for you to agree, fine, the child wants bike. Okay, for what reason? Should this be the priority? So I think it's only fair to know, because while you're doing this, you could be the father and you're the disciplinarian in this case. Because both of us cannot be disciplinarian. No, we shouldn't. That is why sometimes father can be so tough and the mother is a bit calm. And that is the way it should be. Because when all of you become disciplined, what happened to the child? You kill the child. So there should be this person who, discipline, this other person calm the person, Because like now when they come to study, there are kids who can easily get away with their homework in the presence of their mom or their dad, depending. So if you don't agree that this is the way we should be going, if it is, for example, like now when it comes to co-parenting, and in this case, you have separate homes. What happens? When they come to your home, they don't do homework just because you're not very concerned with that. So there should be rules, because children thrive on routine. We should be very, very careful on that. They thrive on routine. And so when this routine has been broken, just because they went to visit dad, that is very serious. And even so, when it comes to issues of separation and the issue of co-parenting, these are some of the things that some of the rules that should be, they're actually ground rules. That even when the children are at your place, homework first, then TV time, then bedtime, should never change. So even if they came to your place, they need to know. When they're in my place, they should know. And that's even why, even food, let them not eat a lot of chicken at the dad's place and eat a lot of matoke in the mother's place. So they might just prefer your place just because of what they're eating. So I think it's only fair for this parent to put their children first. It is not about you. It is not about me. It's about our children. So how do we ensure we are able to balance when they come to your place and to my place? And even when it comes to buying bike, buying clothes, we just agree on how and why we should do some of these things.
All right. Richard, as a counselor, and particularly I know you've listened to quite a number of children and parents. I know you mostly counsel at Sitam Thika Road. What is the feeling from parents, the kind of feedback, the real from the society, ile tunasemanga sauti kwa ground? How receptive does this, as much as yes, you'll say it might sound very diplomatic, do this and this. But then how easy does it, become even in the family when now they hear you and then they're now actually going to practice it at home?
Truth be told, it's not one size fits all, because every family is different, and how we raise children in every home state, we all been raised different. There are different values that we esteem around each other, but there's one clear-cut experience that you can appropriate, that if you turn animosity away from each other as parents, in spite of the separation, and prioritize the need to raise and to groom your children with values that will set a precedent for them wherever they are going. Because what causes them to stay healthy and have a balanced life is to have time-tested values. It's okay to be kind. It feels good when you walk with honor and integrity in life. It is good when you place a value on other people within our family strand. It might be your mother's side or my mother's side. Honor my parents as you honor your parents. It is good to visit the elderly. There are things that work, and if you come to that common denominator, that love is the foundation with which we respond in our actions towards each other, children cannot negotiate their way out of that. If you're able to see a misconduct or inappropriate behavior and rebuke it at the onset and say, that is not right, and I do not appreciate that part of conduct from you. As a parent, you choose to not be friends with the child. You choose to be a parent at all times. And you see, you can't opt out of being a parent because you have irreconcilable difference from someone. I've seen a lot of single parents in different places, and even in our local church. And I really want to appreciate the support that is provided for in different spheres of influence where we associate with. There's some support system. If there's a lack of disciplinary conduct in the relationship you have with the parent of your child, you can outsource it from friends that are stable in their union to help you where there's a lack of balance. And you'll be significantly helped, Earlier on I was talking to my friend here, Jane, and it's interesting when you reflect on certain things that work for you. We're talking about the cycle of groups that we have where we visit each other as couples for the last 17 years. And we've seen the strength of each couple. We leverage on it to help where we're lacking in raising our children. That time we didn't have a child when we met these people. But over the years we've had children, and now children have grown, and some of our friends are empty nesters, but we've seen how you can glide on the strength of others. Even as a single parent, you can glide on the strength of people round about you to help you where there's a significant lack in the relationship you have with someone you raise this child. Don't do it alone, do it with someone else.
And you mentioned something I also wanted to pick up on, Gitau, because you had the whole idea of a third party. You're saying third party later on. But then, Gitau, at what point do you say that maybe it's time to include a third party that we actually trust, probably a relative, and in most instances in Kenyan society, inakuanga ni grandparents ndio wanachukuliwa mtoto. Naambiwa, ebu unaenda ukae ushago ama enda ukae na grandmother, grandfather kwanza. The child doesn't even know the reason. Yeah, nadhani, I'm just going to visit my shosh and guka. So that even as the parents now sort their own issues, when the involvement of a third party comes on the table, how should this be navigated?
Yeah, so let me first of all appreciate what my colleague has said about turning away the animosity from each other. Because when you're really hurting, and I'm hurting in this case, and our problem are irreconcilable, some people are very expressive. It can be the man, it can be the woman. And so what happens is that the children are likely to suffer in this case. it is very unfortunate that just like bread and butter, bread and butter, it happens that these are 2 slices of bread, full, complete slices of bread. So what butter them is those children. So now you want to get them out of here or from here. So actually, you actually tear them, So what happens is that if one party is hurting, let's talk of a man hurting, and maybe like almost immediately in African society, we see a woman always walking away with the children. Other things are discussed in court later. But most of the time, women walk away with the children. So if that lady has walked away with these children, and maybe even the father is not even interested with these children, chances are, for a wise person, you might have to bring the third party on board to balance your child or to balance your children. Because these are maybe boys, and here you are, you're a lady, you're already hurting, and some of these ladies also tend to see these boys from the mirror of their father. Like, kama babako, and you start seeing some behavior, and you actually start seeing that man. And you may even hurt that child. So it's always fair to bring the third party, sometimes also to adopt some good behavior, to know how men behave or how women behave. If the father who has walked away with the children and there are girls involved, he may not be able to balance. So you can bring in the third party. And again, also you could be going through financial challenges, and the third party can also come in handy. This can be your father, this can be your brothers and sisters. They can come in handy. And also the council, just like he said about the groups they have in the church. Not everybody is lucky to be in a group in church, but you could be coming from a very strong family, and you can see that kids can be able to get some values from my brother's family or wherever. I think you can be able to bring this party on board to keep talking. And especially even as a parent, with your wisdom, you can also be able to see the people that they have been admiring. Your children will be telling, tupeleke kwa anko or kwa auntie fulani. You need to know what values were they admiring in that particular family. Maybe when they go there, there's where the uncle gather his own children and talk to them. And so they get to benefit in that particular talk. So it is up to you now as a parent to be able to pick some of these things. Because again, you cannot push your children to your brother or to your sister, just because you don't want to see them. Surely you should explain to them, because remember, they are also hurting. Sometimes we assume the heartache of the children. You realize that even when somebody dies, we assume children. How ni watoto tu? No. This relationship has died. And guess what? They were squarely in it. They were in the middle of it. Actually, tumesema, they were actually the butter. Yeah. So they were the butter. Well, you are joined by love. Them, they are joined to you parties by blood. And that is why you can never use this child as a messenger, as a spy, or even as an ally to your conflict. Usimtumi akaspy daddy, atakikuja kwako, uliona nani? Don't use them as a messenger. Don't use them to deliver a message. And actually, this is even one way they get to know that your relationship is not working. Atiambia daddy atununulie sabuni. Endo itishe daddy pesa ya mkate. We use these kids. So stop using children as a messenger, as a spy, even ally. So that at least you should respect even them. They are human. They are small human beings. But guess what? They are within their age. Allow them to live their life.
For children because you're saying these children are definitely hurting, this speaks on the aftermath of this broken relationship. Maybe because as earlier on I was saying, and a cup that can break and cannot really be fixed, some relationships can be fixed. But then now on the aspect of those that can never be fixed, then the point of no return. Now a good example like you, Richard, you definitely remember yours, you experienced so many years back. And it is what so many of your viewers, this morning can attest to. They can tell you, I definitely remember, how I was brought up and the kind of effect that it had in the whole spirit of, looking for healing for this child. How should they look for this, healing? They definitely come to you as a counselor. Speak on that, the whole process of healing for this child.
Okay, thank you. One of the things I should first mention is don't damn the masculinity of some of the boy child by cursing their father. You know, sometimes the toxicity of a broken relationship can be so severe that the mother keeps on cursing the father of the children. And you're thinking you're doing them a favor by giving that negative script to the child. But actually you're damning the masculinity of this child. You find the child talks in a soprano, he behaves feminine in the way he conducts himself, and you're wondering, why is this happening? You don't voice. Sometimes you might not even voice it, but behind the scene you rehearse it. And you know, in normal life, vibrations are felt before they even voiced out. Yeah. This kid knows, my dad is a no-starter. She never said it, she never voiced it, but she knows. So he picks it. And this vibration is somehow affecting this child. You're too protective and insulate this child. You can't even transition the boy to leave your bed to go live as a boy, because bottom line, you're preparing this child for a life outside you. A child gets to a particular age, could not take him away from your bed as a mother. Let him learn to be away from you, because that's what life is all about. So one of the things that I would say, please, mothers, don't communicate your toxicity to a child. Damn the masculinity of this young boy. Let the child be a child, but also help him to prepare him to transition, to own up responsibility as growing up, because that's what life is all about. Then don't deny them an opportunity to access the other parent. Mm-hmm. There's a particular window and opportunity, you know, and the child knows. And those who genuinely care for you are not boiled up with bitterness. No. Mm-hmm. You should expose this child to the other parent.
All right.
Also, finally, I would say it is proper. Take this child for counseling. Mm-hmm. You might not go, but this child, do them a favor. Expose them for counseling and therapy. They need help.
Right. Let me take a look at what you were saying there. I'll start off with thinking how this is forwarded to you. Good morning. It was Josephine from Nyeri. Good conversation that you are having. I was brought up by a single mother, and kudos to her. But we always asked her who our father is, and every single time she will tell us to shut up and don't ask her that question ever again. And this happens in so many families and the kind of single parent families, Gitau. Are the parents, in their own sense, are they correct to even tell the children, stop asking me about your father, because I don't want to ever hear his name in this household ever again? Mm-hmm. According to them, do they think, are they correct?
Yeah, children will forever have a right to know who they are and where they are coming from. Mm-hmm. First of all, let me say that it's unfortunate for such a parent or for parents who don't want their children to know their fathers, mm-hmm. because that is somebody who has refused to move on. It's actually somebody who is hurting, and they are fixated in their pain. They hurt so much, that man hurt so much, alimwacha kwa mataa, you know? So the moment you mention that guy, anamkumbusha kwa mataa, mahali aliachwa. But the best thing is to know that, first of all, this child is not trying to challenge you, because some parent may be responding like, this child is trying to show you like, you have not done the best for me. That is why I'm looking for my father. This is not it. The fact is, a child cannot be of a woman alone or of a man alone. Mm. It takes two parents to have a child, isn't it? And that is why African culture is challenging this issue of that is coming from the US, you know? Yeah. So, you see, it is very, very key to realize that you can only be a mother to this child, but there is a father, ako wapi. So this child is actually authentic. When they are trying to ask for their father, it's because they know it takes two to tango. It takes two to bring up a child. Let me know my father. So I would first of all say that let these parents be counseled. They should seek counseling. They should seek help. Right. But the child has a right to know their father. Mm-hmm. Yeah, whether they are, even if they are adopted, let them know that they have been adopted. Because guess what? Even if you don't tell them, one day they'll be told. Mm-hmm. And what happens is that these kids, they'll keep seeking. Yeah. You know, like, especially nowadays, this issue of the AI and whatever, they'll go to the social media, they'll get to know who their fathers are. And even if they didn't go there, their aunties, their uncle, there is speculation in the village. wewe nafikiri ni wakamau, you. Just tell the children. You could have made a mistake. Sometimes parents, ladies especially, we are ashamed if you have two children that don't belong to the same father and you don't want, And that is why sometimes you hear ladies, because they got one and they didn't get married, they are busy rushing to look for the same man who gave them the first one so that they cover up on the shame. So it happened. Those are past tense. Make just peace with your past.
Just as a pilot. Richard, briefly on this, then you give us your final remarks. I know this is definitely something personal to you. She definitely wants to know, is her mom, politically correct not to even tell them who the father is? Briefly, and then your final remarks.
The truth is, and you cannot negotiate yourself out of it, expose the child to the father, even if he's dead in your heart. Yes. It's so clear for you to say, that man wangu alikufa. Hata mtoi nilimwambia, huyu amesha kufa. Even if it is that to you, reconcile a child to the father that early. It healed me faster when I came to meet my dad. But I was 3 years old. But when I got to 14 years old, I went and asked my dad, who is my mother? There's an age quadrant you cannot negotiate yourself out. So do it pretty early and reconcile this relationship, and you'll be fine, and so will your baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Your final remarks to parting shot, really, and maybe really advice to parents and partners who are in this whole disparity period, and they're wondering, how do we raise our children so that this whatever we are facing doesn't impact them?
I would say that every parent, it's a noble privilege for you to have a child. Treat it as it is, that it's a grand privilege to raise a family as a husband and a wife. And in this, if you're struggling, significantly struggling, even when you're not struggling, outsource help. Help is available for you. Go for therapy and counseling, and you'll be helped. And you'll be coached on how to do it well. Yeah.
Right. Let me tell you final remarks.
Yes, so it is very, very important for us not to wait for things to get too bad. Don't wait until things are so serious for you to be able to seek help. Just know that you cannot do it alone. And in this world, there are different seasons of life. So respect the season that you are in. And more so also respect these children. Please, if you are co-parenting, make sure you take care of these wonderful children, because even them, they have their own life. Don't expose them to a lot of anxiety. Please don't use them as messengers. Don't use them as spies. Don't even ask them to be your allies as far as this is concerned. And so thank you so much. Let us continue doing. Don't be ashamed of your status quo, their status of life. Yeah, God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. On WhatsApp, hi TV47, my name is Coach Kiplagat, watching from Eldoret. When we were young, we used to we used to hear our parents fight in the bedroom, but then act very nicely out here. It has shaped my relationship with my partner. That is what you're saying. And this conversation continues on our social media platforms. How do you raise your children during a broken relationship? Thank you very much, June Gitao. She is a psychologist, as well as Richard Zimbalist, a psychologist and a counselor. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you very much to you for being part of this conversation all the way from around 6 a.m. For Morning Cafe. Up next, a rerun. Friday Ndemoli continues with the State of the Nation, and just taking a look at how members of Parliament and the senators have been put on the spot on matters of corruption. This is Morning Cafe. Don't go too far.